Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, and I still just can't stop talking about trials. We're in an unusual situation now where the changes made to trials, both with matchmaking and the new kind of reward system, have totally transformed the mode. It is the most popular it has ever been in Destiny's history, at least Destiny 2's history as far as I know, according to the robots who track that sort of thing. That is very impressive to see, and one main reason for this is not just kind of the accessibility, where matchmaking has kind of opened it up to a whole new group of people, but also the fact that you can farm trials now. Before, there was really nothing you could actively farm about trials unless you were good enough to just keep getting the flawless chest over and over again for more depth drops. But now anyone can farm trials in kind of very specific ways. And what I found over the course of the past day, and with a kind of lengthy session yesterday, is this has a potential to be what I would consider one of the most rewarding activities in the whole game, if not the most rewarding activity. I think the goal was to put it kind of at the level of a Master or Grandmaster ordeal Nightfall. And this is a stark change from before, where previously you could farm trials for hours, and unless you were constantly, winning streaks and racking up tons of tokens, you could just get nothing. Like there were plenty of sessions in trials where, I'd win a game or two and then lose and get a loss on the card, have to restart, and like at most you were crawling your way to like 20 tokens for a single drop for an entire session, and then you get the pity bounty. And then people would just jump off the edge to get the pity bounty. And then maybe you get to 3 wins. And if you're really lucky, you get to 5 wins. These are like, mid-tier, low-tier trials players. Whereas high-tier players, would still kind of struggle to get the flawless because of all the stacked teams and everything. And then once they did, they would have to just keep getting flawless over and over again to do anything approaching farming. That is all totally out the window now. There are so many changes to the reward structure of trials in this current form that it's almost hard to keep track of them all. And the amount of loot I got yesterday in not even like that long of a session, maybe 4 or 5 hours, which for a whole weekend is not very long, and I'm going to keep playing it, which is another key point. I got way more loot than I was expecting on kind of every level. So Saint gives you a Trials engram every time you get a sub rank, and then every time you get a major rank, you get a powerful engram that will decrypt into Trials gear. And then the Trials engrams you can take to Rahul, which will help you backfill missing things that you don't have yet. I filled in a few missing pieces of armor. I got Solace Scar. I got the new Linear Fusion by doing that. But once you've unlocked everything, the point of Trials engrams is the ability to focus them into specific Trials drops. And all you really need to do that is 1 Trials engram, something unlocked in your collections, and then a good amount of Glimmer. It's like 20k for a normal weapon. And then I think it's like 100 or 200 Legendary Shards, which is steep, except at this point I have like 13,000 Legendary Shards, and I have never found anything remotely reasonable to spend them on, because there's nothing costs that much in the game for Legendary Shards. So this is actually a pretty good, place to dump them. And the ability to target farm Trials loot is what every activity kind of needs in Destiny, and this is at a level above Umbral engrams because you can pick the exact gun. It's not a 50-50 chance. It's not anything like that. You can just, I want the Linear Fusion. I get the Linear Fusion, and sure enough, I got a triple tap Vorpal, and I am satisfied and very happy with Trials of Osiris now. And but there's plenty of other guns to go for. You can try and get high stat armor doing this, and everything like that. And in addition to this, they put in just kind of regular Crucible rewards. So you'll just be getting random World Drop legendaries. You'll be getting Season Pass drops of those weapons. If you have those nodes unlocked in your Season Pass, you'll be getting Crucible Valor. I think that's new. So just kind of passively playing Trials, I have gotten all the way up to getting the ornament for the ritual weapon, just kind of passively playing. So at least I'm making progress over there as well. And then probably one of the coolest things they've done is, I didn't really understand the new structure at first, where Like you can, so it doesn't track losses. You're either flawless or not flawless. Like obviously I'm not flawless because I'm not good. But once you get to 7 wins on a card and you keep playing past that, like the matches are harder because you're usually kind of matched up against people that also have 7 wins, and they could be 7-0, or they could be 10-0, or they could be like me and like 10-20 or whatever I am. But wins on a card that's full gets you extra stuff. So like if you're flawless and you keep winning matches and continue to be flawless for 8, 9, 10 games, you have a chance to drop additional adept weapons. So instead of having to do an entirely new card again, which you can do, you can just keep going as long as you can and stay on the same card, and until you lose, like you will have a chance at getting more adept weapon drops. Great for flawless players. That is never going to be me unless I'm getting carried. But even for a below average trials player like myself, once you get to 7 wins, you then have a chance at just getting straight trials engram drops from the end of matches. I've gotten I think 2 or 3 already from wins, so you don't have to wait for sub ranks. It's like it does start to take a little while to get sub ranks up. It's like 5 or 6 or 7 games as kind of you get through the ranks, whereas before it was like 1 or 2 games. But if you're playing and you're winning at least occasionally, you should be getting random trials engram drops to either focus or just decrypt with Tarhul. I also got you get prisms pretty much every match, like kind of the mid-tier upgrade material. But even with a very, very not flawless card, I was still getting Ascendant Shards. I got 2 Ascendant Shards out of, I don't know, 5 games that I won post 7 wins. So again, like these are very much kind of Nightfall level rewards. And like you're sacrificing, I guess, you're not really getting exotics from this, unless you get all the way through the rank system. Like there's not really random exotic drops that are happening with the system. Like you get a lot more exotics with Grandmasters, and yet you are getting the chance to target farm loot in a way that you cannot do with strikes. Like you are kind of totally subject to the mercy of RNG for especially like master or below strikes, where you're just getting the strike specific drops, and now there's 2 in each pool, and you don't know which one you're getting, you don't know the rolls. But Trials is giving you a very specific way to focus this stuff and go exactly after what you want if it is in your collections. The most blindingly obvious thing now is that Iron Banner needs this exact system, like without question. Some version of this system would be perfect for Iron Banner. I'm already kind of mad that I can't do this to get a peace bond with Headstone, because that's all I want in this game right now. But it's very easy to see how some version of this could translate very easily over to Iron Banner. Really hope we don't have to wait like 6 months for it, but it does seem to be the case at the moment. But like I think when you add it all up, and if you are a player that is at least winning occasionally in this, and you have a good amount of stockpiled resources to focus stuff, like this is probably one of the best things to farm in the game. It is hard to think of anything else that would be better. And like I know some people can farm Grandmasters like they're candy, and yet that is not the case for most people. Grandmasters are still something you need to find a group for. You need a really, really specific strategy, and some of those can be kind of slogs and kind of exhausting. Whereas Trials, like, yeah, you'll be stomped by 3 stacks and whatever, but then occasionally you'll get games on par and you'll win and you'll feel good and you'll get good drops. It's kind of all over the place in terms of difficulty right now. Like, especially post 7 wins, you just have no idea whether you're going to get just massacred next game or you're going to get a totally normal match that you have a shot at. For me, it's usually been like 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 games are like normal and reasonable and I can win, and then everything else I'm getting stomped. And yet, even like the stomped games last like 5 minutes, so it doesn't even matter, and you're still, at least now you're still getting rep. So I can lose these, 5 games in a row, and at least I got an engram out of it, whereas before I would have gotten literally nothing, a total waste of time. So that has really kind of fundamentally transformed this, and now that I have my 7-win card unlocked, I can just farm that all weekend long if I want. Like I know I'm not going to reset the card and try and get flawless. I know I'm not that good if I'm by myself. Like I'm not going to be able to carry a team. I can't rely on luck to get a better team than me every game. So I'm just going to keep playing on this card and keep getting rewards and focus some Shuria's Wrath and try and get some of the new perks on it, or another messenger with new perks or something like that. But this is a very good system they've come up with. I don't know if it's perfect. There's the whole like 3-stack versus solos debate. Should there be a freelance playlist? That's probably a topic for another day. But in terms of rewards, they've opened the floodgates, and they pretty much did exactly what everyone has been telling them to do forever now, that this should be one of the most coveted, most rewarding activities in the game. And keep in mind now, when there's Iron Banner running, there's not going to be Trials. So now Trials is going to feel like kind of even more of a scarce loot farm, because Iron Banner's here every like 3 weeks or something. So I think it's really to turn things around in the loot department. We'll see how the population feels, as time goes on, and we'll see if it's kind of still at this level and more accessible. It's not perfect, and you will still get stomped plenty if you're not a great player, but it is certainly better and certainly more rewarding than it used to be. And I genuinely think it could be one of the most rewarding activities like per time spent in the game now. Like the sheer amount of loot I got from not that much of a time commitment, honestly, yesterday was shocking. Honestly, I did not think I would be getting that much loot, that high of quality of loot from how I usually perform in Trials, which is like barely squeaking out 3 wins or maybe 5 wins or something in a given weekend, and getting like a couple drops for an entire session, or slogging my way through the pity bounties so I can get, the arms for transmog or something. Whereas this is just, it's totally different. It's on a completely different level, and I think the reward structure they've come up with here is fantastic, and they deserve a lot of praise for that. So that's my Trials take for the day. We'll see. I'm going to go play some more, and we will see how things kind of progress over the course of the weekends, and if there's additional thoughts, and then we'll be back to, I guess, PvE stuff at Reset next week. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.